If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Wire to Wire here on the HHH Racing Podcast, sponsored by our good friends at First Racing. I'm your host for tonight, Noah Maher. To my right on the screen is host of Bettin' and Boozin'. Typically when we see each other, the roles are reversed, so it's going to be an interesting show tonight. Kyle Roscoe joining me from the Bayside Bunker, of course, to take you through a fantastic and very difficult coast-to-coast Pick 5 this Saturday. We've got 2 races from Gulfstream Park as well as 3 races from Santa Anita, so we will be getting into those shortly. If you're interested in the podcast, you can see scrolling on the bottom of the screen is our weekly schedule. Tuesday nights, we've got 1 show, and Wednesday and Thursday nights, both 2 shows at various times. So, go ahead and make it easy. Hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, and might as well hit the like button while you're there as well. We would greatly appreciate it. Of course, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor, we greatly appreciate it. But if you are also joining us from the Santa Anita YouTube or the Gulfstream YouTube channel, we appreciate that as well. Welcome those viewers to the show. If you're interested in following us on social media, that's our X right there at HHH Racing Pod. And if you're interested in what we've got to say in our opinions, we've got our Power Picks tip sheet, of course, if you guys know about that already. We talk about it time and time again, and they've started off 2026 very, very well. I believe we're 6 weeks in, and the ROI is well above $2. So
it's above $3 for that.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Those things are rolling for sure. And if you just want to find out more about us, you can go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. I believe there is one more thing that I want to let the viewers know, and it is that they can get past performances and clocker reports, for both of the tracks that we'll be talking about, Gulfstream and Santa Anita. You can get those every race day, and you can get those at drf.com plus more info. Kyle, how is it going tonight?
I don't know who let this happen, but I don't know. We're going to have a ton of fun, that's for sure. But no, of course, I'm very happy, of course, to be on this side. I'm usually, like Noah said, I'm on that side of the screen, doing all the peripherals and talking, doing all the behind the scenes action. I just get to sit back, relax, and let him do everything. So this is fantastic. But there's some good races, honestly, and some competitive races in this sequence. So it's very tough. But when you have races like that, you're going to have to press up your opinions wherever you find them. I know I have 2 pretty good ones and 1 race that I have absolutely no way what to deal with. You guys will see that later. But no, some good racing for sure, and definitely some competitive racing at that.
Yeah, nice to have a little change of scenery. You get to sit back, relax, and let me control things up front. We'll see how that goes. We've already got a bunch of people that are watching. One of them that I wanted to mention is John Judge, who pretty much put the most correct statement and accurate statement that I've ever heard. He said that we are the only pair that beats a full house. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
Might as well just give him the link and invite him on at this point. Appreciate that. And Jim Pilar is, of course, a good friend and buddy of ours. Good evening, Noah and Kyle. Obviously going to be an excellent show. Well, we know we're going to bring the entertainment, but hopefully we can bring some winners along the way as the $1 coast-to-coast Pick 5 begins at 4:20 Eastern with race 9 at Gulfstream Park.
We don't even have to tell the jokes, dude. The jokes for themselves.
Totally set up for us. I mean, this is absolutely perfect. Race 9 at Gulfstream. It's allowance optional claiming company for $25,000. Mile to 16th on the turf. Important to note the rails are at 52 feet, and you can see the wide open field down below, and the morning line favorite going to the horse drawn all the way to the outside, and the number 11 Maggie Go for Chad Brown and Irad Ortiz Jr. at 9-5. Second choice is the number 9 Pretty Lavish for Gaffleone and Sweezy at 3-1, and I will bring up the picks here shortly, and there they are. Race 9, I'm going 10, 9, 11, and Kyle is going 9, 7, 11. Kyle, you're going to kick us off with a horse, I believe, who finished third in the opener on Pegasus Day.
She did, and I'm glad that this race is in there, because for those of you that watched our Betting and Boozing show last night, and for those that didn't, I don't know what you're doing. You should go watch that after this. We cover the late pick 5 at Gulfstream Park, and 2 of these races are obviously going to be part of that sequence. And this is my best opinion of the entire day at Gulfstream Park is the number 9 Pretty Lavish for Ken Sweezy off the trainer switch from Grand Motion last time out. Ran a really respectable race. I don't even think she wants to be that far back. She had a little bit of trouble early on, but she was kind of keen. She steadied inside going to the quarter pole too, so a little bit of trouble here and there, but she was able to rally really well. The only difference is obviously you can see right there that this was run on the inside rail. Obviously the rails will be out, not as far out as they are on your screen there for the Pegasus. I still don't understand that that decision to run the Pegasus turf on the outside, but you see the 9 Pretty Lavish still a little bit keen, like a little bit all over the place, but when she gets going, you can see that kick, and she lost to 2 decent horses in there, being Betty and Torino. She's coming on late as well, so the mile and the 16th should all but help her in this race as she gets that extra half furlong to run into. I mentioned it as well. I'm not too sure how the rails out are going to affect her, but she should be close enough in theory to where the outside post and the rails out shouldn't affect her too much.
Yeah, it looks like Timeform's got her about mid-pack, which I think if she's
and
there,
in the parking lot for that matter.
But. Yeah, if she's there in terms of maybe not 4 or 5 wide, but just there in terms of the rest of the field, I think you would be pretty happy with your chances going down the backside. And I saw everything you saw. And another thing to add is that race on Pegasus Day, those 2 horses that finished in front of her, the 7 and the 8, were pretty forward throughout. So she was really the only one making up a ton of ground. Not to mention she's going to be second off the layoff, second time for the barn, and you get the likes of Tyler Gaffleone. So I think she's got a big shot. Expect her to probably be a pretty solid second choice, if I would think, behind the 11, because I have to imagine the 11's probably going to take a decent amount of money in there.
And we did this without morning lines last night too, and that's about where I guessed her. It was about 3-1, 7-2 in here, because a horse we'll get to in a little bit, which I'm completely against in here, and I see you are pretty decently against too, and the 11 is going to take a lot of money.
Yeah, the 10's the one I ended up landing on as the top pick, and she was in the same race as the 9, actually favored in that race. And to be frank, I was pretty disappointed with her effort, but I get the feeling that she doesn't really love to be down on the inside with some horses in front of her. And I think with the outside post, I know Timeform had the 10 and the 11 pretty close to each other. I'd be pretty surprised if Irad was that close with the 11. I feel like he might take her back a little bit, which would set up perfect for the 10, because it seems like the 6 is going to be on the lead, and Jersey Joe would be able to just sit the stalking trip there, which this horse has been able to do. Joe's never been on her, but she's been able to do that time and time again, and you can see with her couple victories. So it was one of those where I can make a case for several others, but it's one of those races where I know she's going to get a really good trip from the outside, and obviously she likes it here at Gulfstream, so I gave her some big consideration as well. I think when you guys talked on the show, a couple others had, and you definitely considered her as well. So I think she makes a ton of sense for sure. We'll go to the horse that you've got in second. And we talk about morning lines all the time. When I saw this, Kyle, I was, I don't know if I want to say the word that first came to mind, but I was kind of the opinion that I was against her. But if she's really going to be 15-1, I feel like I got to use her, right?
Right, and that's kind of my thought. This is actually my first winner of the entire meet this year. Obviously, it started around Thanksgiving. That race ran on November 30th, and I promise I'm not only picking her because of the Charlie Freeman angle, but she She's run some decent races, and the other thing that I liked about her is the ability to be tactical. The mile and a 16th at Gulfstream Park is not necessarily one that's going to be a blitz for the first turn. Like a race, I believe it's race 12 on the card, the closer, that's 7.5. That one's a much more like you need to be inside. You need to get position early. There's a decent run up for that mile and a 16th. So, but I don't think, I mean, just connections alone, I don't see her going off of 15-1. Is she slow? Yeah, absolutely. She's slow on numbers, but just for the ability to get a nice trip in this race, which especially with the rails out is numero uno in terms of wanting to win this race. Well, I think she wins the race. No, I think she's just a little bit of a cut below right now. However, down the line, we might see her progress, and maybe in this race, but I think she at least has a piece for trip wise to at least get in your exactas or tries.
And I think the time form number, if I'm not mistaken, was in the hundreds in that last race, which leads you to believe that the buyer is maybe a little bit more, in the low to mid 70s, which, if you take that into account, you could definitely see some natural progression and maybe even another step forward, which absolutely.
I mean, the nine's pretty lavish. His last was 106, and that Mystic Sea race, you're right, it's a 102. So, yeah. I mean, they're a lot closer on time form than versus buyers.
And I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about this horse, who I kind of used defensively in the pick 5. I think I've got her as a B. Obviously, respect the connections. The post is strange. The fact that they tried her on dirt is strange. It's one of those where if she's taking significant money, and we do have the luxury of that with this being the first leg of the pick 5, if she's taking money, I'd probably be more inclined to use her a little stronger. But if she's like 5-2, 3-1, I think I just might take my chances and try to beat her.
I even if she is 8-5, man, I really don't want any piece of this horse. This horse was obviously very well meant for Chad. Even going to Monmouth first time out, that was on one of their bigger days. Obviously, a grade 3 in the Eatontown. She ran fine. Like, she didn't necessarily run bad that day, and obviously the buyer reflects that. But then she went to the Ballston Spa, ran awful. The awful second choice, and then they tried her on dirt off the layoff, then took her back and put her on the bench again. Now comes back into this race. I mean, this horse was coming back, in that Monmouth race. She ran well. People started talking, really big about this horse, like, oh, Chad's bringing another older mare, not from Europe this time, but bringing from South America, which obviously turned some heads. And honestly, if this horse is any good, this horse goes to the Hillsborough in 2 weeks and runs at Tampa, where Chad loves to run his horses down in Florida. The fact that she shows up in this spot with the post, with all the questions that you already brought up, I just want no part of her. And if basically the way I'm treating this race, and you'll see it later, if it's not the 9, you could make a case for 3 or 4 in here. So if she's my best opinion on the card, I'm going to bet her like it. I'm going to take her and hopefully get through the rest and open up the amount of horses I have later. In the card and the sequence, excuse me.
Yeah, I completely agree, because there are some very difficult races that we will get to shortly. It just kind of seems like
just keep hitting at it. Just keep hitting at it until it comes up.
Last point is it just kind of seems like she probably beats this field pretty handily, or she's just nowhere to be found. I mean,
correct.
I don't know what to expect from her, but
and do you want that take that chance of what you just mentioned at 8-5? And that was my whole thing yesterday was I can't trust that at 8-5. If she was, coming off of a race like the Eatontown, and maybe ran in the Ballston Spa, didn't run her, her race for whatever reason, and she comes back after that. But the fact that, you're going to lay off, then dirt, then lay off again, it's too weird for me to bet her at a very short price.
Weird vibes for sure. We'll see what happens with her.
And now we put her in the winner's circle. So
on Saturday. Yeah, she's going to romp. Second leg, we go to the West Coast in Arcadia, California for race 3 on their program. Same level allowance option claiming this time for $50,000. And we've got another turf route. We've got milers on the turf, and you can see the field down below. Another very competitive race with a 7-2 morning line favorite in the speedy type, the number 9, Delightful Laura for Peter Hurton and Victor Espinoza. Second choice, just to her outside at 4-1, the number 10, Resolve, who I believe is 1 for 19. So hard to trust there. A runner for Powell and Hector Barrios. speaking of somebody that you can trust, I mean, you got to use that guy, right?
Give me
I'm
that.
419. Kyle, you are 4910. We both ended up landing on one of two Baltus runners in the number 4, Miss Artois. And fun fact, I don't know if you actually remember this, but do you remember the
I was
time?
saved by Miss Artois. I do.
Yeah,
I
the time
do.
that I requested a meme from you, a Supercuts meme, or I
Yeah,
think it's
dude,
Supercuts,
that's
isn't it?
the Great Clips meme, dude. It's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
but anyway, what did you like about this runner hoping to get 6-1?
I don't know if it's really more of how much I like her, and I do like her on Saturday. Again, it's just another race where I can poke holes in so many, and obviously, I believe this is probably going to be one of, if not the first runner, back off the out of the sheriff's barn after, of course, he unfortunately passed away. So rest in peace to
That's a
the
9.
great John Sheriffs. That is the 9, the morning line favorite in here, Delightful Laura. I mean, this horse sticks out like a sore thumb when you're talking about just straight speed figures. But the pace scenario, obviously, no, and I'm sure you
Mhm.
hinted at this as well, is the question mark for her. As you can bring up the time for him, see, denoted as a fast pace between the two going deep, coming from a sprint last time out for Doug O'Neill, Claire Austin, who's only been running sprints in her career, stretching out for the first time and been on the lead in those sprints. So to go along with the 9, that's the reason I didn't have her in the top spot. However, I still do respect her in that regard. But Miss Artois, Noah, I mean, those last couple efforts have been very good, and they've had a little more cut in the ground. I think she might even be better without that cut in the ground. You can see she's also been a lot closer in her previous races. So I'm not too sure she wants to be that far back. Tiago's back on her, who is generally, I don't know if she's first call, but she's one of the first call, or he's one of the first calls for Baltus. And if Miss Artois can work out a nice trip from a nice post in the 4, I think she has all the chance in the world in a race that has a lot of question marks.
Yeah, so this is the race that both the 4 and the 9 are coming out of. And it seems like it was a pretty live race. You see the 5th place finisher run a mile. My shoes came back and won, as well as the 7th place finisher came back and won, and I believe beat the 10 Resolve by a head, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you ended up watching this replay, Kyle. I'm sure you did. This was one of the more bizarre replays that I that I have seen. So she's the 9 in here. I know it's going to be very difficult to see. Let me go ahead and make this full screen so a little better. So she's the 9. She's in kind of the purplish colors there. So the 10, who's the winner that day, My Perfect Wave, kind of cuts inside of her, gets the quote unquote jump, I guess. And you can tell, I mean, Pereira, who's on her that day as well, is just pumping. I mean, he's completely pumping. At this point, I thought she was going to get last. See, she's not going anywhere. She's spinning her wheels. You can see the 10 who's making that move, who ends up winning that day. And then all of a sudden, right as she hits the 16th pole, she just figures it out. I don't know where this came from, but look at her fly. I mean,
Yeah.
she's going by horses. Granted, maybe those horses were getting a little tired, but there was some kind of light bulb that turned on. You can clearly see that she figured things out. She's full of herself. And like you said, some of the races before then, she's shown an ability to be a little bit closer. The race 2 back that was won by Candy Bar. I believe Candy Bar was very close to the pace that day, and there wasn't really a ton of running from off of it. So I could give her a bit of a green flag and upgrade for that. And that race on opening day, remember they had to move back. Opening day was supposed to be Friday. They moved it back to Sunday because of the rain. It's just been really weird with some of the run backs because some of the horses handled it, some of them didn't. And this was just one of those instances where it seemed like she didn't handle it for about 3/4 of a mile, and then the last furlong she did. It was just so bizarre. I didn't know if you saw that.
And I agree. And you have always, and you, Ryan, and Jackson have always talked about the bet backs off of that day just because of all the rain they had, how weird it was having to push back a couple. So I just think she's well worth a use, let alone have her on top in this race, in a race that in theory looks to have a lot of speed in it. And Paul Patan, who is in the chat right now, likes the one that you have. I actually don't have this horse anywhere, but maybe I'm just completely wrong in this race. And you two like the one Lila.
I do like her, Paul, and I'm glad that Paul likes her as well. One of two Baltus runners, like I mentioned earlier, and she's one where obviously things really need to go her way, but I don't see why that can't happen. I mean, like you said, the 2's going to be quick. The 9's only got one way to go. In a weird way, I think the 3 might be the key to the race because number one, she ran last Sunday. She didn't run that long ago. So I don't know, number one, if she's going to be in the race. And if she is, I think she can maybe make things interesting and go heat things up. But regardless, I think the 2 and the 9 will probably set a pretty decent tempo if I had to imagine. But she's going to be coming from off of it, down on the rail. She's going to be able to save ground, scrape paint down there the rest of the way. She's put together back-to-back buyer tops. And if you look at the time form, she's really not that far off. I mean, she's pretty even with some of the other main rivals. I mean, you see 103, Baltic Fire's got a 106. I'm sure that was probably at 50 or 60 to 1 because that's what she does. Delightful Laura's got a 107 in there. I mean, she's really not that far off. And Kyle, I mean, we've seen time and time and again, mostly been with some of the boys and some examples. Exhibit A would be Test Score and the Pegasus, where we've seen these 3-year-olds step up, up to that competition where you think maybe they're a little slow and they step up and they're able to get the job done. I don't know if she's going to get the job done, but she's going to be a price. She's going to be running. Just a matter of whether things set up for her. I don't know if you have a comment there, if you want to talk about the 10.
I'll tell you one thing. Test Score pissed me off. That's one thing I'll say for sure.
Yeah,
that's the only time I did not bet that horse. And of course he wins at God knows whatever to 1. And the 7 did run that 107 at 57 to 1. So good eye on that one. But yeah, Lila definitely might be just one I looked over. The layoff coupled with how Baltus has kind of started this meet have kind of drawn me off a little bit. Yeah. Plus the added fact that she needs the trip to go her way. But in theory, there should be enough pace in here to get her home, at least for in the money. So I think it's definitely needed of a use. And speaking of in the money, it's Resolve is probably going to be that horse. This horse, the talent's obviously there for her. I mean, she finished 5th by 2 in the American Oaks to some really nice horses that I think highly of in Mbaya and Cliffs. Wilden, I also think is a decent horse in that race. She has all the talent in the world, it seems like. It's just, she can't put it together late, and she always comes with her run. You see an 8 out of the 15 in the money, 5 out of the 8 at Santa Anita on the turf. I think Santa Anita is her best turf track, and it's just a matter of getting it home for her. Obviously, Hector Barrios is going to help in that regard. She's just not one that seems like she really likes to win, and unfortunately, she always gets bet down like it too. So you're not really getting paid to find out if she can go, 2 for $1 million or not. You're just always kind of paying that type of tax.
And I will say, I thought her last race was pretty good. I mean, she was wide the whole way on a day I believe the rails were already out. So she definitely wasn't saving any type of ground. But it just seems like she's done that on numerous occasions where she'll range up. She looks like she's going to go by and then just kind of flattens out. And like you said, she's done it at shorter prices. So for me, she's a very defensive use. I feel like she's had plenty of chances. Yep. If you want to key her in 2nd or 3rd, I mean, good on you. I would probably do the same thing. But yeah, she's just been definitely a little difficult to trust for sure. And she'll be one of the shorter prices here on Saturday.
And my thing in this race is it's kind of just, it depends on the pace scenario. Obviously, like you said, the 3 is the key to the race. If the 3 goes out, I really wouldn't use anyone but the Baltus runners and the 9, the Peter Urton horse coming over from the Sheriff's Barn with Victor aboard. I just think either the 9 wires the field or gets a really nice trip just sitting off, even though the 9 really hasn't done that. I think the 9 either wires or it's one of the Baltus to come late if the pace heats up. And obviously, you can take which one you want. Obviously, I prefer the 4 Miss Artois. Noah, you have both of them intertwined in there. But that's kind of the way I viewed the race. It's either the 9 wires, and based off that last race, it almost seems like she's the most likely winner of the race. But like I said, if the pace heats up, I think either one of the Baltus could get it.
Mr. Matt Miller joining the chat from Marshall's Guest House in Memphis. I know Matt, I believe today was heading out to Oak Lawn. Awesome to see Marshall in action. Teaching class at Rhodes, great time talking to students about strategy. He's just
rubbing it in, dude, with
implementing that good strategy and that good tournament talk into Marshall students. It says on to Oak Lawn tomorrow, first time. It was supposed to be our first time a couple weeks ago, Kyle, but
that's what I'm saying.
There was a thing called weather, so unfortunately we did not get to head out there, but hopefully we will make that a trip
At
here
some point.
soon. We will move on to race number 11 at Gulfstream. That is the middle leg, and Kyle is shaking his head because this is one of the more difficult races that you will see. Maybe not in your lifetime, but
that I've
certainly
seen
of
in
the
a
year.
long time.
I mean, this might be the most difficult race I've looked at all year. And somehow we are actually somewhat similar. I'll bring up the picks in just a minute, but you could see the field. It is everybody's favorite time. It's a $10,000 claimer on the Tabita. Yes, Kyle paid me to say that.
He
Absolutely.
said the thing.
9-2 morning line favorite in the number 2 Go Amy for you LSU Tiger fans. Rohan Crichton and Irad Ortiz Jr. second choice on the morning line, at least, is the number 10 1 of 1 for Badu and Luca Panici at 5-1. And our picks are up on the screen. Now we've got similar ideas in terms of tactics. I've got 2-10-11, and you've got 5-10-1. I believe mine's actually supposed to be a 1, so that's host field number 1. Kyle, I will let you talk about Lois Len, Ontario bred, Drexler Gaffleon off the long layoff, 7-year-old mare. It looks like she's going to be forward. That's about all I can tell you in a race like this.
Yeah. I mean, you'll see my freaking grid later. It's about the funniest thing you'll ever see in your lifetime. And for those that know about me, I'm not generally one to spread. I love to press up my opinions, and I'll tell you what, there's non-existent of the last word I just said. There's no opinion in this race whatsoever. It's just so tough, man. All these horses are legitimately carbon copies of each other. The only difference is the pace scenario aspect of it. Lois Len, Marty Drexler does this all the time. He claims horses with Woodbine, gives them a break through the winter, and brings them back when they're ready at Gulfstream Park. Obviously, she's 7 years old. The boss would not approve of this top pick, being that she's older and coming off a layoff. But the 76s she's run at this type of level absolutely fit in this race. I mean, really, high 60s is kind of maximum for a lot of these horses in here. It's really tough in a race that has so many horses you could look at and be like, oh, yeah, I could see that horse winning the race. They denote fast pace, but the thing that I always love to bring up with these races, especially at Gulfstream on the Tapeta, there's very few horses that love to pass in these types of races. The one Compass Rises is one of those horses who I have and you have in third. You have the 10 in there, 1 of 1, who has a little bit more of a tactical approach, which you can see based on the time form. Actually, I do as well. I don't even know my own picks, but that's about, if that doesn't tell you what's going on about this race, I don't know what does. But yes. Lois Len has some really good numbers in the back form. Plus, Marty Drexler loves to do this type of angle with horses coming from Woodbine. Claims them for 10 out of the optionals or claiming routes, brings them down here to where they can win. Generally speaking, the Tapeta form down here is less that of Woodbine, obviously, because actually I said obviously again, Jim. There you go, knock it up. Put 1 on the scoreboard for that. But
I'm waiting for the comment.
I know Woodbine is the only one. Woodbine only has synthetic up there, so generally speaking, the Tapeta form is better up there. So hopefully, coming down to this type of level, even off a little bit of a layoff, she can go to the lead and not look back.
Yeah, there he is. Jim Polaris, I'll say this about Lois Len. 1-2 starts back with Munger on, who is not a top-tier jock at Woodbine, then had Apprentice on, thinks that she could run well here. And we've got James in the chat. James, I don't even know if I'd go that far. He says, sounds like a win bet. This just seems like one of those races where if you're playing the Coast to Coast Pick 5, you just use as many as you can and should try to survive.
For your budget.
Oh,
really.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, if you do place a win bet, you're going to get at least 4-1, no matter who you like. Maybe that is the play.
I guess the big question with Lois Len is if the 2 is quicker than her, can she sit off? But then again, I mean, I've got 3 or 4 questions for everybody in this field.
Correct.
So maybe I'm nitpicking.
No, and I think that's a fair point, though. I mean, she has the ability to sit in the past. But obviously that was, I said it again, Jim, that's 2 for the scoreboard. I need to stop. But that was the end of last year. She was able to sit. Now she's 7 years old coming off that layoff. So it's always going to be a question with these older mares coming off if they can run as well as they have in the past. I just know Marty Drexler loves to hit up this angle down at Gulfstream in the winter. So going to try and take a little bit and I trust. But I'll tell you who's good to trust is Rehan Crichton, who you have on top.
Yeah, and that's the key here, right? I mean, I know she faltered a little bit late at a pretty short price, but it was also fast pace. And number two, like you said, I'm not super familiar with Dante Zanelli, but I am very familiar with Rohan Crichton, and he's obviously 25% so far of the meet. He's also very good off the claim. And you pick up a guy named Irad Ortiz. So, maybe she'll get a little bit bet in the win pool. But like I said, it's not a race that you're going to be involved in the win pool. I mean, you're just trying to get out alive. So I thought it was possible that she could be quicker than the 5, but you see that race 3 back. She actually did a little sitting. I know she was kind of placed outside that day, and she also was a big price. But it's just one of those races where I feel like I want to take some of the horses that are in decent form, kind of regardless of the company that they're running at, just because I feel like some of these Tapeta races and the conditions, they're kind of similar. They're not like similar all the time, but it's always a leg up, I think, when you've got horses that are in good form. And speaking of good form, I believe the number 10's in pretty good form. If I'm not mistaken, she had a win 3 back. That was in the barn of Jennifer Young. Obviously, she's had 2 races for the Badoo barn. She was avoided claim 2 back, and she was in that race, I believe, with both the 1, 2, and 10. And the funny thing was the 1 was the first horse I saw, and I watched the race, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really know if I want any of these horses. And I'm pretty sure I have all 3 horses that were in that race as A's. I mean, that's just what's happening with this race.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and my voice on Luca Benici has been well known by at this point, but you are right. I mean, a lot of these, especially when you get to the beaten claiming level and you get out of the condition claiming level, all these horses kind of just beat up on each other all year round. And this is obviously one. This is one of those. That is, and this is a claim back for Steve Badoo, which is another thing that I like. If you scroll down, you can see Badoo actually owned this horse, then claimed him back for him, lost him for 20, claimed him back for 10, her. I'll take a drink for that. But that's a good angle to run on. And this horse runs very well. We'll have a little bit of a tactical advantage. I think this horse is an absolute must use Tapeta specialist. Really not much more to say, but if she sits a nice trip to the outside, is able to tuck in a little bit off of that mile 70, because it is a little bit quicker of a run. This is six, or no, this is I'm looking at the wrong race. This is mile 70, so a little bit quicker to that first turn than a mile in the 16th. So as long as she gets in from the outside, I think she has a big chance.
Yeah, and she's going to be close too. I think the consensus on the 1 is if things really go crazy up front, she would be the one that would maybe pick up the pieces. I like the way she was able to get the job done in both of those races, 2 and 3 back. A little disappointed with her effort last time because she was the favorite. And like I said, when I first watched it, I was like, this horse did no running at all. But then again, I've got this horse in 3rd and an A. So, that's this race for you. But I do like the fact that she gets back into the barn of Angel Rodriguez, because she was in his barn when she kind of went on that little spurt of back-to-back victories, and you get Junior back as well.
Yeah, and this is not a wait and claim back. This is a straight claim back immediately. Not for the same ownership, but for the same trainer in Angel Rodriguez. Junior Alvarado picks back up the mount from when she was in that barn. There's a lot of things to like with her. I think she needs a lot more things to go her way than someone like the 10. And the 3 is also in that type of form with Katie Davis aboard for Salvatore Santoro. I can probably say that for 5 different horses in this race. It's just really tough, and this is kind of a straight survive race because no matter who you pick in here, like I said, there's going to be very nice prices either way. Some will obviously play more, and that was a needed one. Will play lower in the pick 5 than others, but no matter what, it's just kind of a straight survive race, and press up your opinions on other races that you have them.
2 races to go in the Coast to Coast Coast to Coast pick 5, excuse me.
I screwed you up there. That's my bad.
Both of these races will be occurring at Santa Anita. The second to last race of the sequence is on the screen now. It's race 5, $32,000 claimers, going 6.5 furlongs on the flat course at Santa Anita, not down the hill with the flat course. And you can see the field on the screen now. The morning line favorite in the body of 12 in the main body is the number 2 at 7-2. That's Central Dispatch for Sadler and Antonio Fresu. You can see there are 2 also eligibles to the outside, the 13 Hot Rocket and the 14 Autism Puzzle. So, of course, we can't stress this enough. Make sure you check scratches and changes to see if those horses get into the main body of the field. So we will get the picks up in just a second. And my king, love the pick here. I'm going 3-7-9. Kyle's going 3-2-1. I don't really know what you thought, Kyle. I liked the 3 quite a bit. And then after that, I just had absolutely no idea. So I'm glad that, maybe we might be right about one thing.
This is why they put us on the show, Noah, is because we're
Absolutely.
obviously on top of it. Even though he's 8 years old, Noah, he's probably still in some of the best form he's ever been in.
Oh, yeah.
I love this horse. This is probably between the 9 and the 3, my 2 biggest opinions in the entire sequence and probably on the entire day. I haven't done all my work for Saturday yet, but I really like Doncic in here, and it better not be like Don Kick or something like that. It better be Doncic.
No, I'm pretty
aptly
sure
named
after
Luka,
Doncic.
Luka Doncic. And even though he's had 7 seconds out of 17 starts, the 88s just stick out like an absolute sore thumb in here. If you're looking at others like the favoritisms, Central Dispatch came off a over year layoff last time out, and really didn't run at anything. That was claiming 50, and now then for 32, that doesn't install a lot of confidence in me. And Tiger Han's 8, and it's definitely seen better days, even though he's in decent form. But you brought up that race. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to make you go back to it.
Yeah.
I mean, Beef Winslow in this. What would Beef Winslow be in here? I mean, he's only lost to a length and a quarter to Beef Winslow, who's running high 90s, high 80s, low 90s, ultra consistently. And if he's in this race, he's by far the favorite.
Yeah.
And in races where you have a lot of other favorites on declining form or just getting older in age and not necessarily keeping the same speed figures that is necessary for a group like this, very competitive group, but I really, really love the 3 in here.
Yeah, I do too. I just think he, at 8 years old, he had every right to kind of need that race off the layoff. Was kind of grinding away, where he's a horse that's got a pretty good late kick. And to your point, when I watched that replay, number one, Beef Winslow's a pretty good horse. And I should probably mention that Beef Winslow's actually on the AE list in race 9 on Saturday. So if the 1, 2, or 3, run well, you could probably upgrade Beef Winslow if he actually ends up running and getting into that race. I believe it's race 9 because they're going down the hill, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the races that we covered on Tuesday night for PHP. But I thought he ran well. I thought he kind of ran the best of that group in there. I could certainly make cases for the 1 and the 2. I did notice that kind of point where, number 1, they brought the 2 off that long layoff and was a bit of speed and fade, which, I mean, he had every right to. But number 1, he wasn't protected in that spot. A lot of times they offer the condition where, they can protect him for a race or 2. So they were willing to give him up for 50. And now they're also willing to give him up for 32. And the third thing is Hector Berrios is a typical rider. I mean, he's pretty much first call for Sadler. He actually chooses the 7, who he won with last time, for Craig DeLossie, who I've actually gotten second. This horse was pretty much the bee's knees in that $25,000 claimer going the flat 6 at Santa Anita a couple weeks ago. I think that was about a month ago. I think he was either 6-1 or 8-1 on the line, got bet like a sure thing and pretty much won like a sure thing. And like I said, I like the fact that Berrios is back aboard. This horse likes it here at Santa Anita. If you look at, he's only got a couple grass races at Santa Anita on the page, just because obviously he's well versed in the quarter horse races at Los Al. He's had some good races on the main track as well. But you go back to the Hernandez, which was at the end of 2024. He ran a bang-up race at almost 70-1. And I believe Motorius was the winner of that. And Motorius has been in his prime for a couple of years now. But ran very well there and ran very well last time. So another one I thought, the grass races were enough to put him in the mix for me. And then the number 9, who I'll briefly mention, Mucho de Oro, is extremely frustrating. I'm not sure if he is as good as he used to be. And frankly, he's definitely not as good as he used to be. But the fact that there isn't really a ton of speed in this race, at least confirmed front runners, number one, you never know what you're going to get from Florent Giroux. But if Florent actually decides to go, you look at some of Mucho de Oro's races where he's actually on the lead at the top of the stretch, he's pretty tough to run down. I know those were a while ago, but it's just one of those where, I give him one more shot. If he's able to get the lead, like time form might suggest, I'd give him one more shot. Other than that, if he kind of falters a bit and doesn't run well, I think the divorce papers would be out for me.
Yeah, and that's the thing is the pace scenario. That was my question because I actually did take a long look at Code Dwello. I just, with the 2 being as fast, basically a speed and fade, as you mentioned, and the 9 Mucho de Oro with his best races on the lead, I just didn't know. I didn't see a winning scenario for Code Dwello, which is why I didn't have that horse in there. But your comments are definitely well taken. And I agree that if he runs his race and at least holds on, he can easily hold on for a piece. If my things against other writers, Luca Panici, have been documented, my love-hate relate my feelings towards Florent Giroux have definitely been well documented. So as long as he goes out and installs this pace scenario, I think I think it sets up really well for Doncic. I already mentioned kind of my other 2, Central Dispatch. I completely agree with everything you said. And Tiger Han, well, this is a horse I bet the absolute crap out of all the time when he used to run back at Del Mar in like the summer of 24.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're in the big 2026 now, and I just don't think he's nearly as good as he used to be. I think he's still a really good shot for somewhere underneath and in the money, but in terms of on the win, and I just think his best days are behind him. And with the buyers still declining and now 8-year-old second off the layoff a little bit, I just think there might just be other better value elsewhere.
Yeah, we'll move on to the last race. I know you put your picks up in here. Did you want to talk about the 11? I didn't know if that was a little mishap or if
Did
you
I
actually
do
had
the 11? Let's
I know
see.
you put the picks in. I didn't know. I've got the 11, I think, as a C on the grid.
Well, I don't even know. Sure. I mean, I just like Marco DeMuro has been riding very well out there. I think I do this a lot. I end up looking at a race once, walking away, going to do something else, and then right before the show, I end up coming back on. I probably switched out the 11 for the 1 at the end there. It's a 50-50 chance, Matt. Either we win the race or we don't. It's a simple fact. Just like gambling. It's, a 50-50 chance. You win or you don't. But yeah, I just really like the way this horse has ran. Kind of, this is the one really that's just solidified in the claiming level out of this group. There's not a whole lot, there's some dropping down, some running back, a lot of others in here that have question marks. This is just one that's been tried and true at that type of claiming level. And if Marco DeMuro can work out a nice trip from the outside, I think he needs also stuff a little bit better, a little bit more to go his way than others that we've talked about, but definitely one to include in your exotics if you're so inclined.
Yeah, and he was second last out off of a bit of a freshening to the 7 who I've got, Code Dwello, I believe is the name. So if you like Code Dwello like I do, I think there's really not much reason to
and actually, Matt, that's a good point. I didn't bring that up with Tiger Han. I think Tiger Han's better surface is the Del Mar turf surface versus the Santa Anita one. Obviously, underneath 9 for 15 in the money, but only 1 on the win end. So more underneath play in this race if you're looking at the number 1 Tiger Han.
The concluding leg of the Coast to Coast Pick 5 is the Wishing Well Stakes, which is the feature on the card on Saturday at Santa Anita. It's a $100,000 purse. We've got fillies and mares going 6 furlongs on the turf. Yes, it is a flat 6, I believe, once again. And the morning line favorite is the number 6, Gratefully, for Giroux and Robert Falcone. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this horse is also co-owned. You can see on the bottom right there. I will highlight it so you can see it. Co-owned by a proud sponsor of the show, Adelphi Racing Club. If you want to get in touch with them and interested in owning some horses with that partnership, you can go ahead and contact our good friend Matt Cutaire if you want to get involved with that. But we do wish them luck with this runner on Saturday, and I really wish them luck, and so do you, Kyle, because we both got this runner on top. I'm going 6-4-7, and there's Matt. Appreciate Matt. He said, let's go. Appreciate Matt Cutaire joining the show. And hopefully we're going to laud the praises of this runner, Kyle, and hopefully we laud those praises to the winner's circle.
Matt, I finally did it, Matt. I did it. I picked an Adelphi horse on top. I hope you're proud of me. And I didn't do it just because of the Adelphi name. I actually think Great Filly is a really nice filly. I think she showed that last time out, especially off the layoff, coming back in an optional 80 and absolutely blowing the doors off of that field. This is definitely a little bit of a step up in competition, but she absolutely deserves every single bit of that. step up. And I'm About to Go came back to actually win the next time out after that race. And I think she's also carded in here. Is she not?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. So I'm About to Go ran February 6th after that race with Marco DeMuro aboard, won, and coming back in here off a little bit of a quick turnaround for Leonard Powell. But you'll see Gratefully is the number 7 here, sitting just chilly on the outside with Umberto, no rush at all. And that's the thing I love about her, even though there's not a whole lot of pace. So I actually expect, and again, we talk about how much I talk about Florent Giroux, but I expect her to go to the lead in here with no real pace pressure, but just the absolute kick that this horse has. And the fact that she's kind of the untested up and comer out of this group, it just seems like all systems go for Gratefully in here. And if she continues on this track, she could be a very nice horse going down the road. I'm sure that's exactly the way that Adelphi feels for this race.
Yeah, she's really solid right now. And I know people might say, oh, she got a pretty cozy trip. I mean, the two front runners kind of dueled and, they came back to her. But it was a pretty defining victory, I thought. And they didn't really ask much from her in the 16th pole. And we actually have some inside information from Matt Kuter himself, who said that she learned how to relax last time almost by accident because she ended up jumping the dirt crossing. Never going to know how the horses are going to handle that. And says that she can sit or be forward. Very smart filly. Fingers crossed. Well, I think fingers crossed. I would hope that you guys just end up going to the lead and never look back because, as Kyle mentioned, and I'll go ahead and bring up the Timeform pace projector, it seems like she could be out on the lead by herself and have things her own way. I mean, if she has that, I don't think the forces of Florent Giroux are going to do much stopping, and you can set up like that.
I'm so taking that, dude. That's so funny. The forces of Florent Giroux. I'm so taking that. But I agree with you. And the fact that I'm About to Go is the horse behind her on the Timeform pace projector, that horse really wants no part of the lead, does her best running on the with a target. So I don't expect the 3 to go, and the 9 Jungle Piece has been fast. So maybe that's the one that can disrupt a little bit, but I just agree with everything you said. And Matt Kuter, I actually love that type of inside information, quote unquote, that she almost learned to relax bet last time by accident. It kind of just shows how smart the filly is and how the ability of the filly to be able to not only be a lead type, but also have the ability to sit and really explode at the top of the stretch, because she put that away absolutely no problem. Very looking forward to Gratefully running on Saturday.
Yeah, and she just turned 4, 6 weeks ago, and she's only run 4 times. So obviously there is plenty of room to improve, and we're glad that she's definitely going.
And we are chalking out, but I feel like it's a deserving favorite, and in a sequence that's got a lot of a couple tough races to try and go about value wise. I feel like this is one you can, in my opinion, that you can lean on.
Pace advantage. I mean, she's got the 4 to back it up. I think she's gonna be really tough. We both got the 4 and 7, and we've actually got the same top 3. Sam Falcone, appreciate you joining the show. Gratefully in the spot. Seems like one similar to Hit Show last week. That even float. I completely agree with that, Sam. Even though it took Hit Show about the length of the stretch to get by Accelerize.
Don't bring that one up to me, dude.
Loaded everything in his power, but Hit Show was just too much in the end. Saratoga Special, Kyle. I not super familiar with her form overseas, but I did watch a couple works in the mornings. She looks really good. The problem is it seems like she doesn't have a ton of speed, and if there isn't really a ton of speed signed on, I'm a little worried that she's going to be a little up against it.
I just feel like the class that she's kept overseas coming now to here, first time at 4 off the layoff. You mentioned I did watch a couple works. She looks to be in perfect form in the mornings. And Hector Barrios jumps aboard, who really doesn't ride for Baltus all that much, does he?
No.
So I feel like that's and with how good Hector is on the turf out here, I feel like that's just something to take a look at in general. While I agree with pace scenario that she might be up against it coming over from overseas, but I feel like she has all the chance in the world to get underneath.
Yeah, we'll see what she happens to do on Saturday, if she's able to kind of step up her game or, upset the likes of the number 6 Gratefully. Last horse we'll mention, and I'll have you finish this off with the number 7 Navy Bell, who I believe is coming out of the same race as the 8, and they were just about a nose apart from each other. So just one for third. I think you can make a case for both of them. I kind of thought gun to head, Navy Bell maybe ran the better race last time. That was also her first time going further on the grass than 5. So I wonder if the the added distance is going to work out for her as well.
Yeah, and that's the way I kind of felt because I was between the 7 and the 8. I actually had the 8 originally there. I just feel like the 8 is one of those horses that we've mentioned time and time again today that just needs a little bit too much to go her way. I think she's very talented and the numbers back that up, but the fact that she's going to be coming from a little bit further out of it than some of these others, I feel like is going to be her downfall. So that's why I ended up landing with Navy Bell. She has the ability to sit a little bit closer, and a couple of those races in there can easily vie for this win. And Kent Desormo rode one of those. So, that's a good, but Romy Gonzalez takes the mount here, which I do like. Going to be a little bit more forward, which she has been in the past, which you can see from the Senator K. Maddie going flat 5, but I feel like the 6 should help her at least for in the money. I think she has a chance to win this thing too, just based on the numbers she's ran in the past, but going to have to be catching gratefully in the stretch. And if she gets that time form pace set up, it might just be hard to do that.
Yeah, I think about a furlong or two into the race, we may see that things will be over. I know Mike Saletta, who was actually winner of a KDBCC, and we mentioned that last night on the leaderboard. We were talking to Kevin Lux. Of course, if you guys are interested in that and contest play, you can go check out our stuff on that show Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. But mentions that the flat 6 will work to the benefit of Navy Bell, and I do agree with that. But like I said, could be over quickly, and I think Matt Cutera would probably prefer that. So
I think he would.
Was able to take her to the lead, open up, and take her on to some bigger and better things down the line. Hopefully keep her on the West Coast, because that would be definitely cool.
For your sake, Matt, I hope it's no stress. For your sake, and Matt, and obviously for us in this show. But no stress, hopefully for you. Yeah, he says yes, please.
So last couple of minutes, I know we are going on the 51-minute mark, I believe. Last couple of minutes, we will show our ABC grids for the Coast to Coast Pick 5. Kyle, yours is up on the screen right now. I'll let you take a minute or two to kind of go through your process. Some of your singles, I know you got 2 singles in here and still an $81 ticket. So obviously, had to make some choices, but even then, spending a bit of money. But as we've said time and time again, it feels like if you're going to be right, I mean, you're definitely going to get rewarded.
I warned you. It was a goofy ticket. I warned you guys. The 9 Pretty Lavish, I told you, is my best opinion on the day at Gulfstream Park. Not to mention these 2 singles that I have in here are a 7-2 or a 3-1 morning line and a 9-2 morning line. While I don't think Doncic will necessarily go off at 9-2, I still feel like they're going to be not favorite singles. So being able to create value that way is going to be my number one thing in this Coast to Coast Pick 5. Pretty Lavish, I love a lot in that race as long as she gets a good setup. Not on the lead by any means, but at least close enough to where she can close on those 52 rail outs at Gulfstream Park. Santa Anita 3, it kind of touched on it a little bit. Not my best opinion on the entire day, but I feel like it's good enough to go 3 deep in there, as I have the 149 in my caveman. I know I included the 3 and 10 as C's underneath, but the 149 I feel like you can get through. Actually, I did include the other Baltus in there, funny enough, in my caveman. So I did talk about that. I think it's either the Baltuses or the 9 wiring the field. You could say at Gulfstream Park 11, your guess is as good as mine. I could probably take 3 singles, single gratefully on the end, and go all of them in that race, because I think legitimately you can make a case on the win end for every single one of those horses in that race. So I can't in good faith go like under 6 in there, because every horse I look at, I go, oh yeah, I can see that. The next horse is Doncic, again, 9-2 morning line single. I just really like that horse and the form that horse was on. Like you mentioned, Noah, that horse had every chance to take a step down after coming back off the layoff now at 8 years old. Ran just as good as he was running in the end of last year. So singling that horse, who should get a really nice trip from the 3-hole. And again, I could single gratefully on the end of this ticket as well. And I probably will on a press up ticket if I want to do that. But I wanted to include Saratoga Special and then Navy Bell in there just in case something goes awry with who. But I think it's good enough, though, that you could probably have 3 singles in this and, again, go all in that middle leg, which I have absolutely no opinion on. And when that's said, when I have absolutely no opinion, it's about as wide open as it gets.
And that's why we preach the ABC method, just because you can see you've got 3 A's that are singles, 3 races where you have lone A's. So if you by nature are able to, play the ABC grid and afford something like that, it's definitely well worth it because you can play the different combinations, obviously with the A's and B's and then the C's with the extreme backups, but also you can press up those opinions. So if you wanted to play an all A ticket for, more than $1, either $2, $4, $10, if you're really feeling aggressive, I don't recommend that this is probably the sequence to do that, but there are cases. There are cases where, just with the way the races align, a little more chalky and maybe could expect some more formidable results. So obviously, that's why we preach, making sure you use that.
I'm going to apologize real quick right now. My horse is going off at Turfway right now. So I'm going to watch it while you talk about this, but I might run circles if he wins, just a heads up.
Should I keep you on screen or should I take you off?
No, you can keep me on screen. It's good content if he wins, or I'm just going to be sad. Either one.
All right. Well, I'll talk you guys through my $96 K-Man. You can see, I think the name of the game with the ticket that I've constructed is just get alive to the last. Get alive to Gratefully in there. If Matt's confident, then I'm confident. And hopefully, like I said, we are able to overcome the forces of Mr. Florent Giroux himself. Kyle is a bit disappointed.
No, why is it always the horse that's next to my horse going nuts in the gate? Why is it always that? Sorry, continue. Go ahead.
But anyway, no, I just if you subscribe to the PowerPicks tip sheet, or if you go to the Santa Anita website, I've got a little little piece of writing there that kind of takes you through the sequence and my thoughts. And I pretty much just put there what I just said. We're just looking forward to getting alive through those first 4 legs and trying to get alive to Gratefully. Got the 4 and the 7 in that backup just in case, but just to kind of take you through some of those races. 9, 10, 9's Kyle's top pick, 10 is my top pick. And then I've got the 11 in there just in case. We'll see where that goes and the money that she takes. And like I said earlier, you've got the luxury of seeing that, as that will be the first leg of this Coast to Coast pick 5. Second leg, 2 Baltus runners of A's. And then if they don't go as fast as I think, I've got Delightful Laura, the 9 as a B, but unfortunately she's got the likes of the Doug O'Neill runner and the 3 in there, who I know ran a week ago, but if she's in there, could really heat things up and make things difficult for the 9. Already talked lengths about how difficult Gulfstream race 11 is. I'm going to try to get out with 4 A's, and I've got 4 C's as well. So it could be one of those where I hit A's in all 4 races, and then that race just goes to, crap. But anyway, 1, 2, 8, 10 there. Love the pick that Kyle's got. He actually had the stones to single Doncic in there. I've got him as the lone A, but I've also got the 1, 7, and 9, who I think have good chances in there to maybe upset. And obviously that would create a big parlay going forward. And then obviously, like I said, time and time again, Gratefully will be the single for me. Hopefully the number 10, the Hund, not the Huz, the Hund. I think it's the Hund.
The Hund. Yeah. Come on, Hund. Come on, Hund. Sorry, don't let this 12 pass us. Come on, Hund. Come on, Hund. Come on, Hund. Get there, Hund. You got passed at the line, I think. Oh, my God. He's in a no. He's in a photo. Oh, my gosh. He was all over the place green-wise, but he actually had a really nice trip. I don't know who won that race. Sorry, no. For all that don't know, yeah, the Hund raced number 10 at Turfway.
No, he's not. Look what Matt said.
I got nosed. Gosh, dang it.
Look what Matt said.
No, I'm not yelling at Emma, Matt. I promise. I apologize to everyone out there for the yelling, but the 12 knows us out, unfortunately. But debut for him, still very, very happy with that effort, and Second City Saints effort earlier. So good way, not the best way, but a good way to close out another episode of Wire to Wire.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully, since we had such a good time today. Tonight, Thursday night, we're filming this at what do we start? 9:30 Eastern. Hopefully, we're able to run it back. I'm about to text in our little group chat that this was the best performance that you've ever seen on the HHH Racing Podcast.
Right.
I mean, I can't think of anything that tops this off of the top of my head. But good luck to everyone that is playing that very difficult coast to coast this Saturday at Santa Anita and Gulfstream, of course, $1 minimum, 15% takeout, retail player only, and a bunch of people that are supporting the show. We will see you guys next week. And unfortunately, I can't do PHP out, but what I can do is Wire to Wire out.
Methods. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.